What I'd like to have right now is for all you fat, out of shape YouTube yobbos, keep the noise down while I take off my robe and show the ladies what a real sexy, sick shirt looks like. Hit my music. Hello, I'm King Ross and not actually Rick Rude. Don't we look the same? Ha ha ha, and it's bad WWE RAW. We start off with Chris Jericho, who claimed he had been resting up in the house injured for 3 weeks, in the hospital for 3 weeks, despite the fact that we all know he quite frankly hasn't. We all saw him in Germany getting his arse handed to him by Kevin Owens once again. I mean, it's almost as if us, the WWE Universe, are Chris Jericho's wife here, and we've caught him sleeping around when he's told us he hasn't been sleeping around. We've caught him red bloody handed. He's sleeping around, the dirty bastard. I mean, I'm not against open relationships, so if Chris is actually sleeping around behind our backs, I've got one message for him. The dick of Jericho! Wrap it up, man! Next, we move on to a bit of logic that is severely missing from something Kevin Owens does. If Kevin Owens was using Chris Jericho as a tool to keep his WWE Universal Championship, why did he choose to turn on him 3 short weeks before he was to face Big Billy Bollocks Goldberg in a match that we all knew he didn't really have a chance of winning? Yes, as KO himself explained, he didn't like the fact that Jericho put him in that match against Goldberg, but why the bloody hell are you not using that tool while that tool is still available to you, instead of losing inside 22 seconds and making you look like the biggest tool since Tom Phillips' big old dinosaur bone? Huge. It's not a good package, it's not a bad package, it's the package, my package. Take a look. We get it out then, Austin. I fancy a bit of the old spunky cock dance, you know? Hey! You know, everyone was talking about Fastlane last night, but the most talked about thing was my beautiful package.
It's quite a package, Austin. What's not to be excited about?
Thank you, Corey. Did we all hear Michael Cole getting far too excited when Rich Swann was backdropped onto the apron by Neville, landing head first, but ending up in an upright, seated position? Yes, of course you did. Michael Cole was waxing lyrical about the fact Swann kept his balance, even though we all saw that he was knocked silly, probably 7 ways, and just ended up in an upright position by fluke. Cole was claiming something happened that we clearly saw didn't, which means one thing, I think I need to go back to the drawing board and re-record my #1 hit. Michael Cole likes little flippy men. Michael Cole likes little flippy men. Michael Cole likes little flippy men. Vince McMahon likes big sweaty men. Vince McMahon likes big sweaty men. Vince McMahon likes big sweaty men. Goldberg took a bump. Bugger my bum. Me sideways and call me Betty. That was not expected, was it? Now, I suppose, since this is an episode where all of your favourite catchphrases are coming out to play once again, even though I know it annoys the living piss out of you, ha ha ha, but you'll still watch and give me your clickbait ducats, won't you? The sight of Goldberg doing something other than a spear or a jackhammer means one thing, mother flippers. You need to grab 2 of each animal and head for the bastard border. The end is nigh, the end is nigh. F***ing run away, the end is night. WWE are a kinky bunch of bastards, aren't they? Last year we had the contents of Vince McMahon's lockbox, and this year we have Goldberg, who is about to reveal some information that he's never revealed in public before Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar cut him off, meaning that we never got to hear that little nugget of Goldberg. Stop f***ing blue-balling us, WWE. Blarting is good for your health. It's good for your soul. It's just f***ing great to blart all over.
Yes, I'll hold.
Blart. Are you an adult? Did you watch that child there do what he did last night on WWE RAW? Answer yes to both these questions. Did you? Did you? Did you? Well, you know what happens if you answered yes to both these questions. You just made the register, the sex offenders register, because adults should not be watching what that child was doing last night on WWE RAW, because I'm pretty sure that child wasn't old enough to be doing the things he's doing within the sight of adults. Oh, Biggie, you are... Next, we move on to Charlotte, who claimed that she watched her papa Ric Flair retire at WrestleMania 10 years ago. I'm here now to transform from Rick Rude into a sassy ghetto lady who still looks like Rick Rude and King Ross having a bed. To tell you, Stone Cold Steve Austin used to say, it was 9 years ago. 2008, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, I love you, super click, blah. And that's not to mention the fact that Rick didn't actually retire after that WrestleMania. What about his stint in TNA with Jay Lethal and that hilarity? It really was hilarious. I don't mean to sound sarcastic. How could she forget all this happened? To be fair, knowing Rick like we do, I can only assume that the session the Flairs went on after that WrestleMania defeat probably lasted for a year in itself and caused all sorts of fucking mental issues that each Flair that was in attendance will never recover from. What a fucking session! Because as we all know, Ric Flair's not just a party animal, he's a party fucking dinosaur. Fucking awful, that. Next, we move on to Triple H, who claimed that WWE's medical care of their superstars is the best in the world, while he was on WWE RAW, while WWE RAW was in Chicago. Look at my sexy abs. Now then, I've done absolutely no research for this fact, but we all know that CM Punk and some medical people from WWE are embroiled in some lawyer shit. And for Triple H to make a comment like that with the best in the world moniker attached to it while talking about WWE's medical team is, in my book, a guy with a journalism degree who did media law and all that malarkey, contempt of court. That could be used against WWE in court because they're laughing at Punk's comments, their claims about medicals, and I'm going to end up in this thing myself, aren't I? Imagine that. Me stood there in the courtroom, Phil one side, Paul the other, me in the middle dressed like a nonce. Hey! Oh, something to tell the grandkids, that, wasn't it? Triple H shouldn't have said it, though. We saw right through it, you f***ing pillock. And speaking with that big-nosed the creator of independent British wrestling, what a load of shit. Yes, I know I'm swearing, bosses. We stay with Triple H, who claimed that he never had to make up a nickname for himself because everybody called him that nickname anyway. That is despite the fact, while embroiled in a rivalry with Stone Cold Steve Austin back in the day, he literally called himself the Game. He called himself a nickname that he made other people and us marks here call him. It's like Paul Ince. Paul Ince named himself the Governor, a bloody waxer nickname that he simply doesn't deserve and does nothing more than prove that he has a tiny dick. Yes, Triple H making up nicknames like that for himself. I know JR probably gave him Cerebral Assassin, but he certainly gave himself the King of Kings. Proves he has a tiny willy. And anyway, Triple H going from being Hunter, you know, his kayfabe real name, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, to the Game is slightly contradictory, isn't it? Because hunters, they hunt for game, like birds and shit. If anything, going from Hunter to Game is a step down, and Triple H was making himself sound quite helpless by doing so. That's the sort of analysis you get here with me. Unagi shit that you'll never think of because you're thick as f***ing watch this despite it being the drizzling shit. It's not shit, it's great. I'll stop swearing now. And while we're talking about people calling themselves things, don't go in the comments and go, oh, King Ross calls himself king. Go back to the time when I wrote the Raw WTF Moment articles. Jack the Jobber, you can follow him at Jack_the Jobber on Twitter. He wrote the SmackDown WTF Moments. And Jack Pooley, he wrote the pay-per-view What the F flip. He wrote those articles. In those two comment sections there was people calling me the king of WTF because I was the best at doing this bloody article. The fans anointed me the king, so here I am dressed like a nonce for that. They're doing it again. Flip me sideways and call me Betty. They're doing it again. Emma is coming soon, because the last time they did this sort of bill with Emma, you know, the 17 weeks or whatever it was with Emmalina, that worked really well and everyone got on board with that. Nobody was pissed off when she turned up and said, nah, this was a bad idea, lads. I'm not going to be Emmalina anymore. Going back to Emma. And then flipped off again, never to be seen for a few weeks. I tell you what, though, if this Emma coming soon shtick doesn't last for 18 weeks, one more than the 17 weeks the Emmalina shtick lasted for, I'll be a very angry man and I'll do some god-awful things to somebody somewhere at some point. Vince McMahon likes big sweaty men. Vince McMahon likes big sweaty men. Vince McMahon likes big sweaty men. So Braun Strowman proved that he was more than willing to fight a fully fit wank pheasant called Roman, but when The Undertaker comes down to the ring, who proved at the Royal Rumble that he can barely move anymore, bless his cotton dead bollocky socks, he runs away. Where's the sense in that? Surely an old decrepit man like The Undertaker would have been easy pickings for Braun instead of a fully fit, tall, bronzed, beautifully built, with abs like this, long hair, lovely like me, wank pheasant. We're both wank pheasants. No! Is this just me using fucking logic again? Why don't you use logic for once, W Wrestling World? Vince McMahon likes big sweaty men. Vince McMahon likes big sweaty men. Vince McMahon likes big sweaty men. Roman Reigns claiming that this is his yard now, so what does this mean at WrestleMania? Yes, they're going to fight at WrestleMania because they both looked at the WrestleMania sign. Does this mean that we'll be seeing Roman versus Undertaker in a backyard match? Does this mean that we'll be seeing Roman and Undertaker in a yard sale match? Oh. Are they going to dress up as estate agents on the grandest stage of them all and give us a tour around their respective yards? And then at the end of the match, we'll have someone come down to the ring, give a valuation on Roman's yard, a valuation on Taker's yard, and the person with the highest valuation wins? What is this? Holmes under the f***ing hammer? What a god-awful and cliched continuation to this feud this was from that wank pheasant called Roman. But what else should we expect by now? Z. That's me falling asleep at his "this is my yard" bollocks. Go away, Roman. We don't like you. Yours sincerely, the internet. Right then, we move on to the fact the announcers billed The Undertaker as the original big dog, and that their clash at WrestleMania will be original big dog versus new big dog. This means two things, mother flippers. First of all, Kennel from Hell might be returning. Second of all, if that match does return, because it's one of the worst in WWE history, with dogs going around ringside humping each other instead of looking big and scary. Oh, dogs humping. Bestiality for the win. You must also grab two of each animal and head for the bloody border, as the penultimate point of this WTF moment video ends with one of your favourite catchphrases. That certainly isn't getting boring now, is it? The end is nigh, the end is nigh, f***ing run away, the end is nigh. And then we finish with one mark with one King Ross sign. Isn't that lovely? If there was 3 signs, it would have been lovely. But there's only one, so it's just lovely. Let there be 3 at SmackDown tomorrow. I know there's already one going to be there, so 2 more people take a King Ross sign to SmackDown, then we'll have a lovely moment. Ha ha ha, bye!